All right, welcome back to the RetroCult. I'm your host, Chuck, here with your host, Mack. Mack, what's going on, man?
Not much, buddy. How are you been doing?
It's been good, man. It was a fantastic day today, rounding out the spring break for me as I head back
Yeah,
to
how was
teach
spring
tomorrow.
break?
I was good, very restful. Got a lot of things done. You know, took it easy, didn't do a whole lot, and like I said, we had a really fun day today, hitting that soft open of that first antique store, and then hitting one of our favorites there in Kernersville, and trying to find that new record store, but unfortunately they're in the process of moving. But overall, I mean, it was a really fun day to round out the spring break and ready to head back in and close this year out.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Laura and I we definitely needed some time out. We lost our dog about right before Easter. We were very saddened by that. That's why there was no podcast last week. I appreciate everybody's understanding on that. That was a hard time, but it's good to get back together, hang out, and actually start hitting some antique malls and finding some really cool stuff. We got a lot to talk about today. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vendor
definitely a lot to
Vault.
talk about.
Yeah, Vendor Vault is the newest antique mall opening in Kernersville, North Carolina. They did their soft open today. So, what would you say? Maybe a quarter or less of the vendors are actually in there yet,
I would
based
say
on the
it's
space. Yeah.
definitely has to be less than 25% because it
Yep.
just seemed to be empty space after empty space in there. But there were, I mean, there were people moving things in as we were shopping. There were people painting their booths and getting them prepared for the, eventual
Yeah.
grand opening. And then there were vendors that were, they were ready. I mean, they had their booth set up and full
Yeah,
and ready to
it's
do
like
things.
you mentioned this after we left there. If I were a vendor there and knew there was a soft launch coming, I would have done everything I could to make sure I was set up there.
It was
Um,
so busy though. I mean, there were
yeah.
so many
Oh no,
people
yeah.
there.
People were interested.
Oh
It
yeah.
surprised me how busy that place got before before we walked around. And when we first got there, I think we were the first ones really there other than vendors.
I think we were.
And I'm excited once this place fills up because it's an old Lowe's Foods grocery store. Once this place gets filled with where every booth has a vendor, this place is going to be huge. This is going to be on scale, if not exceeding Cooper's Vintage Village.
It's going to be awesome. And I hope I know at Cooper's there's two very good comic and toy vendors
Yes.
that we'll talk
Yep.
about. I'm hoping that they keep, I hope somebody at this new place opens up to keep the toys and the comics. I don't want them to leave Cooper's to come over there. They could set up multiple
Well,
booths,
yeah.
or Keymaster could, I mean,
Yeah.
he
Well,
seems to
and
be really into that.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because, I discussed it with you. I mean, I have thought about potentially renting a booth and opening up, basically, Rocket Comics Light
Hey man,
at,
Rocket
at the
Comics would be
place.
awesome over there, man. I
But
would be excited.
I don't know. I saw the price list. They're very reasonable rents. Nothing. It seems like they only charge rent too, so they're not taking a cut. Um, they rent. I mean, if you needed it, she said they rented glass cases, display
Yep.
cases, stuff like that. So, it's one of those things I've just got to do the math to see, just doing a little quick math based on the sizes they do have available. Unfortunately, they don't have the smallest size available anymore at the moment. They're all taken. So, I just have to do a little, cost benefit analysis on that to see if it's worth doing because it's also going to be a lot of time and effort. And it's like we discussed, I have a good sized collection. I have a lot to farm out from that collection right now. But at some point, I've got to start getting new inventory. And so now all of a sudden, I am in the comic book business again or the toy business again. And
Yeah.
so that's something I got to weigh in. But I'm with you. If that's something I'm thinking about, I doubt it'll happen any like right away. But but it's something I'm thinking about. But that being said, I would love it if Keymaster opened a second location. Actually, it would probably be terrible for me if he did,
Ah,
because I work in Stokesdale.
yeah.
I could swing right through there every day if I needed to on the way home.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
mean, and it
bad.
would be understandable. That is a phenomenal
Yeah.
spot. And I think, I really do. I think that you considering opening up a booth, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it would be
Yeah,
a
it's
unique opportunity.
I if the smallest booths were available right now, I would probably go ahead and pull the trigger on it, because the rent is enough where I don't have to sell. The rent is what it is.
Yep.
Um, then you've got to put in the time and effort to, you got to put time into pricing everything, getting everything set up, or keeping it organized. Um, if you want to rent glass display cases from them, I probably would not. I would probably, if I needed a glass display case, I'd go to IKEA, spend $125, get
Yeah.
one, and then it's mine. Um, but the most part, I would just need folding tables to put comic boxes on, and for the toys, I'd need some kind of shelving unit. I could go to Walmart, get those metal shelving units for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would take a lot of effort, a lot of work to get it set up. If their smallest size booth were available, I would probably be more inclined to go ahead and do it right away. But since the next booth up that is available is a substantially bigger size and a correspondingly bigger rent, okay, well now I really got to move some merchandise every
Yeah, that
month
would.
to
Yeah,
justify
you would
that
need to
rent.
move a lot of product in those larger booths
Yeah, yeah.
to warrant the booth fee that they're charging. I would maybe, keep an eye out, and maybe like down the road, if you
Oh
just go
yeah.
and say, hey, as some of these smaller booths cancel and move out, just keep my name and number.
Yeah,
And
I'm hoping they do have a waiting list. I know the only problem with those is once these places get popular, if you're not on I need to go ahead and get on the waiting list,
yeah,
because Cooper's Vintage Village, as an example, I have been on their waiting list for like 2 years.
that's odd too, because even today when I walked through, I noticed multiple vendors that are gone and new booths that have moved into those spaces.
The thing is, they've had a very long. They told me when I put my name on the list years ago. We were still living in Walkertown at the
Oh
time, so
wow,
it's
okay.
probably been longer than 2 years. Um, they told us, they said, we're just going to be honest with you. We'll put you on the waiting list, but we already have a huge waiting list. And a lot of times, what happens when a vendor does move out, they offer other vendors who are already there the opportunity to either move into or
Okay.
expand into the other one. And so, like I said, it's been, now that I'm thinking about it, because we've lived here for almost 4 years. So yeah, I've been on their waiting list for more like 4 years.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, I have apparently never, like, they've never moved far enough down the list to give me a call and tell me, hey, we got a booth for you.
Yeah,
One day I'll
that
be, when I'm 80 years old,
yeah,
they'll call me and be like, oh yeah, we're ready. You ready to move in?
yeah, that brings up a kind of a side conversation. I know that we, Cassandra and I went up to the mountains and we hit some of our favorite antique stores up in the Boone, Below and Rock area. And it was odd. There was one booth in particular, and I was looking for it because they have the Batmobile with that plastic shell that went over it from the Batman toy line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
The
so,
'89 Batmobile.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I've always wanted to get it because it has the box and everything, but they want way too much for it. And so I made my way to that same booth, and they had the exact same things that were there 2 years ago.
Right.
I saw nothing new. They have the same Fisher Price toys that we've sent you guys pictures of, the
Yep.
exact same prices, and nothing's moving. And like, I just wonder, are they just drafting that booth fee out of their check every month? And I mean, those people are just losing money. I mean, at some point, you have to look at your prices and say, no one wants it at this. I need to mark it down. And even if
Hmm.
you start at $5 and make your way down,
Hmm.
it's obvious, like no one that's come in there in the last 2 seasons wants it at that price. So you're asking too much. And so I wonder how many booths are like that, because even at Cooper's, there's some booths that have very similar items, and it seems like they don't move a whole lot.
I agree. There was one booth there. I forget the name of the vendor, but a lot of toys. Very like one of the things I was interested in is they have the primal what was it called, primal age
Yeah.
figures, the DC. They're kind of in the Masters of the Universe style,
Oh yeah.
like in this alternate caveman Justice League kind of thing. I actually, when that first came out, I actually bought several of them, but I never got the Flash, Green Lantern, and they had those at this place. And we saw those probably a year ago, and they were charging $15 each. We were there today. They still had them, but they are at least reducing the price because they're down to 10 now.
Okay.
I still didn't pull the trigger because I'm going to say, we'll talk about it later. I found some great comic deals. I'm like, yeah, I'd rather have these comics than those figures because it's like I've already kind of got the figures I care about in that line. I got your Batman, Superman,
Yep.
Laura got Aquaman and Black Manta. Uh, you know, I wouldn't mind having the Flash and Green Lantern, but are they a must-have? Probably not. You
Yeah.
know, if I were a bigger Masters of the Universe collector, I would probably pull the trigger because those will fit right in with a Motu collection perfectly.
Absolutely.
But at least they're lowering their prices, and their prices were very reasonable. I actually walked around with that McFarlane Toys werewolf figure for most of our time there and ended up putting it back just because, like I said, you showed me, um, you hit that vein of ROM comics at
Yeah.
Recom, and I had to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I mean, I Recom is a very unique booth, and I mean, there's millions of comic book booths out there. They're like at almost every antique and
Hmm.
vintage store that you go into. But I've got to say, like, yes, he has some modern day toys on the wall and some things that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years. But his comic collection is immaculate, and
He's got a great selection of Bronze Age DC and Marvel and stuff from the 70s and even a little earlier through the 80s and into the 90s. He did have, I mean, there were some modern comics but I would argue I didn't even see much of anything beyond the mid 2000s, really. It was a really nice selection. The biggest thing I give him credit for is he sorts his books. Now, they may not be perfectly sorted within order, but they're at least, when you see W, everything there is
yeah,
W. And then he has it broken up by character in a lot of cases. That's one thing you don't see at these antique malls. They're not comic shops, a lot of them. Even if they're a booth that's mostly comics, a lot of times they do not have them sorted in any order. There are two main comic booths, just for our listeners. If you're ever in Kernersville or Central North Carolina, make the trip to Cooper's. You won't regret it. I would definitely say that. There are two main comic dealers there: Recom Comics,
yeah,
who I'm guessing is a little relatively new. I don't remember him being there a year ago or so. Um, and then there's Good Boy Comics, who I
yep,
always he's a much smaller collection, but but lots of good stuff. I never don't find stuff that I want there, and his prices are also very reasonable. They have both great pricing structures. Recom has a buy four get one free. Now that depends on the price of the comic. But I didn't really see a lot of comics. I think the most expensive comics we saw were like $20, and
that's the most expensive that I saw.
those were
Yeah,
the certificate ones, which I didn't really care about those. But most of the comics I wanted were all $2, $3, the most $5 a
yeah,
piece. So you're buying four get one free. So it's really behooves you to make sure that you are getting 5 comics that are all the same price, so you get the maximum savings. Whereas Good Boy Comics, his deal is just 5 comics for $10. They're $3 each or 5 for 10.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't even matter if the comics were slightly, well, he just has a flat price of $3 a comic, other than on his newest books, which are priced individually, which they're all very reasonable. And then he does have that one box of like really special comics, and even then in that box you can find a lot of comics for $5 or $10.
Yeah.
The only ones that are really more than that are slabs, and I'm not a slab guy. I
Yeah, and
don't
the
do
ones that he
slabs.
he does put some. I mean, I think the ones up on the wall are all slabbed too, aren't
They're
they?
all slabbed, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they're all slabbed,
but
and those are
those,
really the only things, much more than
yeah,
like I haven't seen a whole lot of super expensive comics there, or that I thought were like, oh, this is overpriced. I thought everything was a great deal. As a matter of fact, you turned me on to that Rocketeer #1 today,
oh
and
yeah,
it was what, like three
$5 maybe,
dollars
3 or 5 somewhere
or
in there.
say
Yeah,
35, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that, yeah, for that price.
yeah, they're good booths. And I see very often, even from Cooper's, I see both of those guys posting where people steal from them
Oh, I
and
know
things
that.
like that. And I
Yeah,
Keymaster posts that a lot. So I would imagine if they're going to get anything in that's more expensive, they're probably going to start putting that in a glass case where you have to
yeah,
have a key to
that,
get
and
to it.
I'll be honest, that's another thing to consider when when opening a booth is like, how how
Yeah.
much do I want to put something out that just might walk out the door, because people are jerks, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
It's a bummer part of it. I hate when I see those posts, and I usually try to repost those. I don't think it's ever done any good. I sure would love to see one of those people get caught though, because
Yeah, me too.
those guys put in a lot of work. I mean, it's very obvious
Well, and
at
it's
any
not
of them.
only from their work, but then it makes it harder for the rest of us, because then, I mean, they've got to make up those losses somehow.
Yeah,
And so, and I totally understand that. So they're ruining it for all of us, and that's why, yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
stole $20 worth of comics, yeah, or more, okay, well, you should go to jail. If we can get our hands on you, you should go to jail for a
yeah.
while.
I would like to
Yeah,
see them get busted more.
yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, like I've worked in retail. I mean,
Oh,
every
me too.
once in a while, I would remember a face of someone. It's like, oh, I remember those people. They're likely to do something, and then you take the proper precautions and you kind of eyeball them more and hang out a little bit more often to try to get them to stop. But like in an antique store like that, I mean, it's so huge. You can't and there's usually what, 1 or 2 employees in there, maybe 3 at the most. So
Yeah.
you can't eyeball everybody, and you can't sit there and just stare at cameras.
Well, and then even with, and in these places, a lot of times the owners of the actual booth are not even there. You're
No,
never going to be there, so,
no,
or you're
it's
there.
rare.
You're rarely there. One question I did want to ask at Vendor Vault, there was that Masters of the Universe sheet that you were asking. They were trying to get in touch with the owner of the booth, because it
Yeah.
was the one thing in the whole booth that didn't have a
It
price.
didn't have a price on it. Yeah.
Did they ever get in
Yeah,
touch with that
they
guy?
called back. It was just a little more than I wanted to spend on a sheet.
If you don't mind me asking, how much
It
were
was
they
only
asking?
$18. It was fairly
18. Okay,
priced.
yeah.
But it's like, what am I going to do with it? Like turning it into a valance or a curtain or something. That sounds cool, but I don't know. I
No,
don't know
I
if that's
get it.
something
I
I'd
get
want to
it.
do.
Like, that's something I would probably be in it for $10,
Yeah,
for sure.
it was just a like, that's very cool, and I thought the artwork on it was awesome. It had some very cool nostalgic He-Man, figures on there. Had that been a sheet set that I owned, it may have had a little bit more pull.
That is true. That is
So
true.
that's always a factor. It was just something I was like, oh wow, look at that. And I was like, I just decided I didn't need it, because I mean, there's so many other things out there right now that I would like to buy and like to collect. And I just, me, I'm really bad about talking myself out of things.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
know there
always,
that happened today, as a matter of
yeah,
fact. Although I
yeah,
made sure that didn't happen. So
you did, and I appreciate that. But it's like I'm always thinking of those other things down the road, and it's like, well, what if the next place has, you know, uh, the ectomobile that I need to put into my firehouse now, or what if they have a giant line of the Fisher Price, action figures, or something that I'm really into collecting. I would
hmm
rather just kind of dump my money into that a lot of times. So I try to keep myself from buying things um, that are, I guess, unnecessary.
No,
Because there's
I,
always
I'm
something else
with
that
you.
I want.
I'm trying to also be better about, just weighing the opportunity cost of, do I want this, or do I want to hold on to that money and apply it to something I really might want later? Because
Yeah,
I mean, I can be the world's I don't talk myself out of stuff nearly enough. I think you and I are at opposite ends of that spectrum.
we
You
are.
talk yourself out of stuff you should definitely get, and I buy stuff I should definitely have talked myself out of. And
It's all good though. I know that. I mean, it's got to be soon, right? I mean, it's got to be
yeah.
May that the toy show's coming up in Winston.
Uh, right, yeah, because it was May of last year, so it should be in
So
the next month or so. Yeah,
I mean, that's another thing. It's like I probably from now until then, I don't think I'm going to go do
yeah,
anything because I just want to
uh,
have every dime for that because I don't know what I'm going to find.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I do want to say I want to give a thanks to you for finding this for me. This Avon Batmobile. I want to say this is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten, and the coolest thing about this, I can't believe you asked me, am I going to put these on too?
I mean, I
The
don't know,
sticker
man.
sheet, the sticker sheet is still
Yeah,
intact, not even applied. Yeah,
I mean, I
that
haven't
will
even thought.
never
Is
get
there
done.
bubble bath still in that thing?
That's the thing. Yes, there's a liquid. There's liquid in there.
Wow, that's
There's
crazy.
liquid. Should I
Yeah,
should
that
I
was.
open it? Let me open it on
Yeah,
camera.
I found
And
that at the spot. I don't remember where the spot is. It was somewhere between here and Hickory.
oh wow, it still smells good. I wish I had smell-o-vision. You
A
could.
smell-o-vision would be awesome.
Yeah, but no, well, most of the time it would probably not be so
Yeah,
awesome, but no, this is great, man. Yeah, it's still full of bubble bath.
that's hilarious. I didn't even think about checking that when I gave that to you
Yeah.
to see if it was. I saw that and I was like, this is 100% going home. And
Oh yeah.
they had some amazing things there, Mac.
Yeah.
Um, they had the chips, the tiny Mego figures
Yep.
with the motorcycles. They had carded Dukes of Hazard.
Oh, see,
I mean,
Laura might have been
man,
interested in those chips figures.
they were
The
not
chips.
terribly priced. They had
Yeah.
they had your they
Did you
had
say they had
your
Dukes of Hazard? The
they sure
Dukes of
did.
Hazard fig Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I know she'd be interested
Yeah,
in
they
those.
had the Star Trek Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles carded
Oh, wow.
$65 a piece, which is
That's not
far
bad.
cheaper
That
than
is
I've ever seen
not
them anywhere
Yeah,
else.
that is not bad.
Yeah, they had amazing. We have to make a trip out there because it's a store that's undescribable. And then I spent a lot of time looking through their comics and they had this crazy run of like coloring books, Mask and Centurions and like all the 80s cartoons.
And you'll have it. It's probably just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, well, welcome back to the Retro Cult again with your host Chuck and your host Mac. I'm not too sure what that's going to look like. We'll find out. It's either going to be coming into the middle of the conversation or hopefully, like Mac is saying, it'll save all that. I think you're probably right. It'll probably save
Yeah,
it all.
we
But
had some
yeah,
technical difficulties, but we're
I would
back
say so.
now, and so we're gonna try to. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the first half of the
I think
episode, and
so.
we'll splice them together.
It is what it is, man. But yeah, I mean, Cooper's is a pretty amazing antique store, and you can really pick up a lot of good stuff there,
Yep,
and for good prices.
yep.
But yeah, we were talking about
I was actually talking about this the
yeah,
Batmobile Avon that you've got for me over
yep.
spring break. I appreciate that very much. It's a
No, man,
really,
that's
I
must
mean,
have.
it's like a very unused version of this still has full of bubble baths. So
That's so wild, man.
I
I can't
might
believe it's
take,
still full of bubble bath. That's
yeah, I
cool.
might have to take a bubble bath later. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
also
mean,
wanted to give a shout out, with the loss of Stubby. You were out on during spring break, and I want to give a shout out to Collectors Confluence,
yep.
because those guys there, we had been there a couple of weeks ago. Fun guys, loved hanging out with them. I was there looking at the Space 1999 model kits they had, and they were gracious enough to give one of these to you to give to me during our grief, and I
Yep.
do appreciate that. I just want to give a big shout out to the guys at Collectors Confluence. And where are they located again? What city are they actually
That's
in?
in Archdale.
Archdale. I thought it
Yeah.
was Archdale. So
Yeah, it's in Archdale.
I can't stress enough, if you happen to be in Archdale, North Carolina, go to Collectors Confluence. Lots of cool retro toys. You were even telling me they've recently acquired a collection of all of the Mego superhero
I've
figures.
never seen a collection of Migos in one central area. Even that guy at the toy show has nothing on the collection of Migos that they have because they
Yeah.
look like they had just been taken out of the package. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
it. I don't think he ever played with them because
Yeah.
they were amazing. I mean, the Thing, the Hulk, the Human Torch, it was just unreal. And even like it was such a neat story because he had Spock and Captain Kirk, and he had told them this story about how he spent months trying to find the perfectly colored pom pom to put with them to be tribbles.
Oh wow.
And they have that. They have the pom
Oh
pom,
wow.
which is
Wow.
amazing. It's like you could tell that it was just one of those things that really meant a lot to him. And I'm not too sure why he gave that collection away. I don't know if it was just he had just reached that point in his life that he was getting
Yeah.
rid of things or what, but it was like,
Things
wow.
things definitely happen. I know
Yeah.
I just saw a post on one of the superpowers groups that I'm a member of on Facebook. There's a guy who has a amazing superpowers collection room, just stuff to the gills with superpower stuff. And he actually just made a quick post saying, I'm getting rid of this. This is the last day that this will exist because life changes, priorities change, things like that. He didn't go into detail, don't need any more detail. Um, and it's sad to hear that, but he is, putting it out there that if someone's interested, he's willing to sell the whole collection to one person, or he said otherwise you'll be seeing little sales popping up on Facebook Marketplace over the next few months. And that's sad to hear, but I understand things change. Yeah, I mean, sometimes something you think you're going to be into forever and it's just not going to work out that way.
I mean, I know that like the Toy Monster podcast, the I think it's Nick. He There was a lady that I think she had cancer and needed some money, and he sold his entire collection of everything to help her out.
Yeah,
And that's why he's
that's such
back
a
to
great story.
it is, man. Now and that's why he's back to recollecting.
Well,
So
but that's the thing you always have to, and I've gone through that several times in my life. I've gone through times where through, just life events, your collection that you work so hard on goes away or has to go away. You need the money, you
yeah,
need something, you're moving and you just can't take everything with you anymore. Things like that happen. The upside to all of that is, guess what? Now you get to go try to collect it again,
you can if you
and
want to go
it's
back
gonna
and get
be
it all
it's
again.
just as
Yeah.
much fun that time.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting, to see that. Oh, by the way, did you get the message I sent you about the Hallmark ornament from this year?
I did. The creature from the Black Lagoon is,
That's wild.
I definitely will be. I mean, after this year, I was so surprised because there were a lot of Hallmark ornaments I really wanted this year. And we actually went before, when they first dropped. This would have been before Thanksgiving. We went to the Hallmark in Thruway Plaza in Winston Salem, and I was looking at all of them, and I was gonna go. I was losing my mind,
Oh yeah.
so excited. But something happened, and we had to leave like kind of right away. and so I didn't buy anything. And then I was like, oh well, things happen, life goes on. I didn't really give it a lot more thoughts. The holidays kind of came and went. And then we went to the mall the day after Christmas, and we went to the Hallmark store there, and they literally had everything that I had been wanting
Yep.
to buy, except now it's half off because it's the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting everything I wanted for half the money. So the Creature from the Black Lagoon, now I've got to start weighing that. Do I think they'll sell out,
I
or do
think
I
that's going to
think I
sell out.
can? Do I think I can wait till the day after Christmas and maybe get that
Man,
cheap?
I mean, it's
I
probably
know that's
not going to
taking a
be,
risk. Yeah.
it's not going to be expensive because I don't think it does anything.
Mm-mm.
So I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
was
just
actually a little disappointed that it's only a bust. It's only
yeah,
him from the waist up. Now, I do like the effect that it looks like he's coming out of a pool of water.
it does.
So, but I was kind of hoping um, for a full body creature. But it's nice. I will probably definitely be picking that one up at some point. I
Yeah.
might, now now I've got that gambler's mentality. I want to push my luck and see if I can get it for half off
Well, I
the
mean,
day.
it is one of those things where it's kind of like, I mean, is it the end of the world?
Mm-mm.
It's not.
Oh,
I mean,
that's right. If I don't get it at all, it won't be the end of the world. There are
no,
other creature collectibles
there's so much stuff.
I'd
I'm
rather have.
still on the lookout for the clear creature at Ross. I keep
Yeah,
going.
the Super 7
Yeah.
Super Cyborg.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
keep
those are
hitting the
Super
Ross
Cyborg.
over and over and over. I go to the one in Clemens. I go to the one on
Have you been
Haynes
to the
Mall.
one down below our
I
house?
have, and
Near our house? Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the Super 7 like massive influx that I hear about from other people, but it's
Yeah,
kind of funny.
I see. It's funny. There's a guy in Pennsylvania. Um, I wish I could. I wasn't planning on bringing him up, so I don't remember the name of his channel. I apologize. Great guy. We watch him all the time. Um, but he hits Ross's, Marshalls, Targets, GameStops all the time, but he's always looking for a deal. Like, he doesn't just go to GameStop and buy the latest figure that just dropped for
Yeah,
$60. He's actually trying to, he goes to see and shows you what's on clearance at the GameStops in his areas.
yeah.
A lot of cool stuff. But he goes to Ross's a lot, and he finds stuff that I have never seen at our Ross's here.
I know that I feel like we're a little bit behind because when everybody was like going nuts because there was a My Pet Monster dog toy,
Yes.
it was a good month or two later before we saw those show up
Yeah.
at the Ross around here. So I feel like we're a little bit behind here
That
as opposed to
doesn't
some
surprise
places.
me.
And that's fine.
We seem to be behind the curve, even for our main stores like Walmart's
Yeah.
and like uh I know that I think his name is Greg Cox, who lives in, I think he actually lives in Tennessee, but he's right on the border, I think, with Georgia, because he goes into Georgia a lot. And we'll watch his videos for his toy hunts, and he will find stuff at Walmart. And like you said, it'll be months before it ever shows up
Yeah.
for us. Like, there have been things where the internet went nuts over it. It's already become like the fad is, it's already over, and then we get it.
Yeah.
And so it's
Well,
like,
I mean, that creature, I'll be honest with you, if it's 3 months from now, I would still be excited,
no,
even
no,
though
no,
the
no. I
excitement
will
would be
be
over.
definitely excited if you ever find it, and I'm gonna, I'll hit our. I only really go to the one near our house. I
Yeah.
don't even think of going to the one up in Clemens, but I definitely try to check out Ross's. Just to get an idea. I have found a few things there that were kind of neat. But I definitely would be on the lookout for that, and that's because I did get really lucky in that Super Cyborg line. We were at Target. It's been over a year ago, and I think I've shown you the Batmobile, but they had the
Yeah.
Super Cyborg '89 Batmobile that where you can take all the pieces apart and see the internal workings, the engine and everything. That's a hefty price tag on that. And I think I got it for $25 just because it was in a box that had been destroyed, but the toy itself was perfect.
Yeah.
And they were just clearancing it out for $25. And I think it normally sold for like $150. I think that was retail on it. And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I'm gonna take it out of the box and throw it away anyway. So,
Yeah. Somebody found the that like 4 foot tall Snake Mountain
oh,
for $50.
the Super Seven Snake
Yeah.
Mount. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. They
Oh
found that at a
man.
Ross for like $50.
Oh wow. That's amazing.
I
Or
mean,
Snake Mountain. No, that's Mattel. That's Mattel, right?
I don't know.
What I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of the Super Seven made a Thundercats command
Yeah,
center
yeah.
that's like $600, and I'm
Oh,
like, if I
this
found
Snake
that,
Mountain is like if not more.
maybe that is a Super Seven
I feel
toy.
like it
Yeah.
was like 750 or
Oh
something.
yeah. See, if you ever run across that for $50, yeah,
I'm probably gonna buy that
yeah,
and sell it.
yeah,
I mean, I would for
yeah.
$50, I would pick it up and probably take it straight to Collectors Confluence and trade it for all their monster stuff, and then come home.
Yeah,
But
I was going to while after during the time we had um our technical difficulties, I was looking through the stack of comics I have here at my desk, and there's one I forgot to give to you because
oh
we
yeah,
had talked about this probably about a month ago on
yeah.
one of the podcasts. We talked about US 1. You had asked about like the weirdest kind of comics I was kind of into, and I have a full run of this, but I found this for 50% off of $10 of no, not $10, off of $2, so for $1.
Yeah.
I picked this up. I mean to give this to you. I want you to read it. Just give me your and we might do a quick little blurb during one of the podcasts. We'll talk about because I mean you gotta love. Look at the description of that comic. High adventure trucking down the highway, and then look at the corner box.
Oh
Just
yeah.
that wink, and the thumbs up, man.
I like it.
This is quality reading right here. So we're going to talk about that definitely at some
You've
point.
got me
But I
wondering if
need.
that
I hate that I forgot to give that to you.
that's all good, man. You got me wondering if that had any influence on Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah, very very possible because this is a late '70s. This is
Yeah.
late '70s. Yeah. But one other thing I do want to share. I know you saw this today. You actually found this, and I just had to have it. Is my
That thing is so cool, man.
homemade cookies for dummies cookie jar. This is going straight to my office.
Yep.
My coworkers we're gonna get a lot of laughs over that because
I think so.
I mean no matter people like talk crap about these. I loved the dummies books, especially the technical like we used them all the time for coding whatever, like especially in the days before AI existed or whatever. They were actually a nice reference for quickly finding useful information about almost any technical subject. I had quite a library of dummies books. I actually still do. They're actually in a crate in my garage right now. But I had to have this cookie jar. Not full of cookies at the moment. It's full of Easter candy. So, but that's getting a proud home on my shelf at work.
Yeah.
I'm
It's definitely a
sure.
conversation piece. I
Oh yeah, my
when I saw it,
coworkers are
I
gonna
was like,
love it.
I've got to see what this is. Like, cookie jar was nowhere on my radar.
No, no.
I was like, when I spin this around, what am I going to see? And I was like, that's definitely not what I expected.
No, and that I'm so glad you took a look at that. It was it was good, well priced. $12. I
That's a
think
great
that was
price.
reasonable, and it's
It is.
ceramic. It's actually ceramic, not plastic
Yeah.
or metal. And so, like I said, I cannot wait to get this to work on the shelf because I know I'm going to get some comments on that one.
Absolutely. Well, I know, I mean, between this and our other time, I know we started roughly around the 7:30 time and looking at it, we
Yeah.
probably have over an hour, right at an hour of of the pod and don't want to, go over too much because, people kind of expect a certain length of things. But
Yeah,
yeah, I,
hopefully we'll get the first half of the
I
episode
do too.
back,
Yeah,
and like I said, I'll piece it together and put it on YouTube. And
sounds good.
you know, um, this has just been a great conversation. Just about going out doing a little retro hunting. I really love doing that. I'd look forward to doing it. We seem to, without the holidays, and you guys are out of school in the summer, so I have we seem to get a lot more of it done during the summertime. And so
Yeah,
I did want to mention, I don't know if you saw that Ultimate Comics in Raleigh, they have done a spin-off store called Ultimo Toys, not
hmm.
Ultimate, Ultimo Toys.
Okay.
So they've opened a dedicated toy store now in Raleigh. They had their grand opening yesterday on April the 11th. And so we definitely need to probably check them out next time we're in the Raleigh area. I know we went to the Raleigh Comic Con in August. We had a great
Yeah.
time there, found a lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll probably be in that area before August, but if nothing else, I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
going to that con again this year. It was a great show. And so, but that's something to keep in mind next time we're in Raleigh. We need to check out Ultimo Toys.
Yeah. Ultimo Toys sounds like a good visit. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, I know we've got the your birthday coming up pretty soon, which is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, end of the month.
End
Yeah.
of the month.
So,
I'm very excited. I picked up something that
yeah, I actually ran across something
man.
that I am definitely I'm taking birthday donations for. Um, I did not know this existed until this afternoon, but apparently, Pottery Barn made a playset, a Hall of Justice playset for kids' rooms in their kids' furniture line. I'll send you the link in
I'm
eBay
looking forward to seeing that.
users. There's actually one on eBay right now for what I think is reasonable price. I
Okay.
definitely, like I said, I told Laura when I saw it, I said, "All right, I'm taking birthday donations for this. See if we can get to this, because this would be. It has the classic Super Friends Hall of Justice on the top.
Yep.
It has 3 levels. The top level is the Hall of Justice frontage with a silhouette of the city in the background. The second layer are just rooms, and then the bottom level is the command center of the Hall of Justice
Oh my
with the
gosh.
table and everything. I did not know this existed. Now, one of the toy groups I'm part of, a guy just recently got one, and he's using it to display because he says it works for 6-inch figures really well. So I'm like, all right, this is going to be the perfect display for DC superhero. If nothing else,
I
it would also probably work really well for the superpowers figures, the
yeah, I'm looking
McFarlane.
forward to seeing that because that sounds really
Yeah.
cool. I picked up, and I've never done anything with it, but I've got this giant comforter and pillow set from Pottery Barn.
Oh,
That
really?
it's got a bunch of Marvel superheroes on it. Yeah. And it's still sitting in the same spot because I mean, maybe when the kids move out, put that in the spare bedroom or something. But for now, it's just sitting there. But they're like stitched on. It's not like your cheap like printed material. It's
Yep.
pretty nice. And when I saw that with the pillows, I was like, oh, I gotta have that. So I picked that up. I think that was last summer on one of my yard sale trips.
Yeah,
It's starting up soon.
this is one of those things I didn't know this even existed, and I'm like, they also have a Avengers Tower playset
Nice. I
too
can't wait
from
to see
Pottery
these,
Barn.
man. It's gonna be
Yeah,
awesome.
I just sent you the
Perfect.
link from eBay on your phone. You'll have to
Good
take a quick
gracious,
look, give your reaction
what a
during the
giant
podcast.
link. Every time I have a link like that, holy cow. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's pretty amazing. I don't know how what I would display on that. I'd have to really think about
I'm
that.
immediately like, this would be great for My first thought was the Super Friends figures from McFarlane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you need two so you can open one. Keep one
Oh,
sealed.
yeah, yeah. There you go. Keep one nice
Yeah,
and crispy. But no, yeah. My first thought when I saw it was this would be the perfect display for the 6-inch McFarlane Super Friends figures.
yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I guess we better wrap this up, man, because I've got to
All
get ready
right,
for school tomorrow. You got to get ready for work, and I know I'm sure we'll be chatting throughout the week.
all right.
All right, Mac, take it
Have a
easy,
great week.
everybody. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye bye.